Have you ever looked at a map of Europe and wondered how all those borders got there? It wasn't always like that. Imagine a world that has no borders or countries as we know them. Today we are ruling completely mixed groups of people. Today we are going to explore this fascinating journey of how it changed forever and how modern nations were really born. Here is our quick road map. Part 1. A Dream of Nations. Let's talk about how this whole idea really began to achieve this history. You have to realize that our modern countries literally began as a dream, painted in 1848 by a French artist named Frédéric Soriot. What he called a utopian vision was basically a perfectly perfect fantasy world. He imagined the peoples of Europe and America marching together, and the crazy part that they were not. Now, why was this such a revolutionary dream? Because at that time, Europe was ruled by autocratic kings. If a government is despotic, it means that the emperor has absolute power, no limits, no voting, and no rules. He has to obey these kings. A large number of completely diverse groups of people were controlled, and they didn't give them any shared identity. Basically, you belong to the king, not to a country. So what exactly is a nation? So the French philosopher Ernest Renan nailed the head. He explained that a nation is not just about sharing a language or a race, it's really about a shared heroic past and a genuine desire to live and work together right now. He called it mass solidarity. Think of it as a huge team spirit built on the sacrifices of the past and the shared goals of today's people. Moving on to part 2, the French Revolution and the spark of nationalism saw how this dream turned into reality. It really started in action with the French revolutionaries. They took some very specific step-by-step action to completely change loyalty to a king with a shared civic identity. They created a new tricolor flag. They chose their own national assembly. They made uniform laws that were the same for everyone, and they pushed French as a common language. The boom that, well, is the ultimate recipe for a united national spirit. Then Napoleon Bonaparte steps on the scene and really takes these ideas all over Europe. In 1804, he introduced the Napoleonic Code. It was huge. It completely took away the old unfair privileges on the basis of which your parents were established equality before the law and property rights were protected. But there's a grip during these administrative systems that the super-efficient Napoleonic regime eventually brought crushing taxes and forced military service, so yes, the people finally started getting against him. Part 3. New Ideas and Classes. A Changing Society. While all these political sparks were flying, the actual day-to-day society was completely changing, mostly thanks to the Industrial Revolution over the centuries. You had the small, traditional landed aristocracy, with all the wealth and huge wealth, but all of a sudden factories are opening up everywhere. This creates a new highly educated, middle-class, businessmen, teachers and doctors, and this growing group that they desperately wanted integrated nations with standardized laws to make business and everyday life so much easier, and this new middle class supported a really powerful idea called liberalism. The word actually comes from the Latin root liber, which literally means free for them. Liberalism meant individual freedom and equality for everyone before the law. But more than just free markets and unified wealth, they wanted real political representation. They wanted a government that would govern because the people didn't really agree to it because a king had given away the divine right to sit on the throne. What the claim brings. Part 4, Kings versus Revolutionaries to push back, because let's be real, the old king was not going to hand over his crown without a fight after defeating Napoleon. The conservative powers Britain, Russia, Prussia and Austria came together in 1815. They basically wanted to press the undo button. They restored the old monarchy, highly autocratic one-man set-up rules, and imposed strict censorship to shut down the press, apparently. This created a massively dangerous conflict with liberal nationalists who were demanding a constitution from there and fighting for real nation states. Because these conservative rulers were acting so hard with harsh punishment, the revolutionaries literally had to go underground. Leaders like Giuseppe Mazzini of Italy started building secret societies. It sounds like a movie, right? But it was real. They had to work in the shadows to train young people and fulfill the dream of freedom and unified nations burning in darkness.